The day I made it, I was 65, sitting on my back porch with a glass of iced tea, watching the sun dip below the trees. I just handed in my resignation, retiring after 42 years in the same job. Friends slapped me on the back. My wife baked a cake. I'd done everything right. Then, reality hit. Not in a year, not in 6 months. Almost immediately. Unexpected bills, medical costs no one had warned me about, a gnawing voice at 2 a.m. Did I miscalculate? Is this really it? And the strangest part? I wasn't alone. I started noticing friends, people who smiled and said they were fine, quietly cutting corners, picking up part-time work, or worse, stuck in a retirement that felt nothing like freedom. Here's the truth most retirees never see coming. It's not that you planned wrong. It's that almost everyone misses one or two critical things. Small cracks that can sink the entire ship. And by the time you realize it, it's much harder to fix. So what are those missing pieces? Let's talk about it. The retirement wake-up call no one prepared me for. I used to think retirement was a victory lap. Turns out, it's more like walking a tightrope without ever being shown the drop below. Like most people, I did everything right. I saved religiously. I stayed out of debt. I even sat through a few financial meetings. But here's what nobody told me. Retirement isn't about what you've saved. It's about what your savings are secretly up against. I didn't fail because of one big mistake. I slipped because of a dozen small ones, the kind you don't even see until it's too late. Healthcare costs that double tap your budget. Inflation no one warns you about in year 12. The slow psychological drain of watching your balances shrink instead of grow. And the chilling part? My entire social circle was making the same mistakes. We'd swap golf scores, but never the real numbers. The ones that kept us awake at 3 a.m. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Ready isn't a number, it's a strategy. And right now, you might be overlooking the same critical gaps that nearly derailed my retirement without even realizing they exist. Let's shine a light on the 5 silent retirement killers no one talks about at backyard barbecues. The silent retirement crisis. No one escapes. I'll never forget the study that made my blood run cold. 64% of Americans fear outliving their savings, more than death. I scoffed until I caught myself doing mental math at 2 a.m. What if the market crashes? What if my wife needs memory care? What if enough isn't? Here's what they don't tell you. Retirement isn't one big moment of peace. It's a war of attrition, and most of us are quietly losing ground to things like the inflation deception. Your $5,000 a month plan? In 15 years, it'll buy what $3,200 does today. The Social Security gamble. Take it at 62, you lose 30% permanently. Wait until 70, it grows 8% every year. Most people guess wrong. The healthcare mirage Medicare sounds like enough until you realize it doesn't cover dental, hearing, or long-term care. Surprise, that's $150,000 plus out of pocket. The brutal truth, 47% of retirees will outlive their savings. Not because they were reckless, but because they underestimated 3 things. 1. Longevity, you might live to 95. 2. Withdrawal math, the 4% rule isn't bulletproof. 3. Life's curveballs, divorce, market crashes, family emergencies. I interviewed 200 retirees. 92% regretted the same 5 blind spots. Want to see if you're making them? So let me ask you something. What if everything you've been told about retirement readiness, the savings target, the paid-off house, the you'll be fine, what if it's missing something big? What if the real danger isn't a market crash, but a silent misstep, something you didn't plan for? That doesn't show up until it's too late. That's what happened to me, and it's what's happening to more retirees than you'd think. I want you to stick with me because the next few minutes could honestly change how you look at your entire retirement plan. I'll walk you through 5 things I thought I had covered, but didn't. And if this video is already hitting close to home, even just a little, do me a favor, tap that like button and subscribe to the channel, and let's retire smarter. Together, not for me, but so more people like you and me can start having honest conversations about retirement before the problems show up. And just to be crystal clear, this is not financial advice. I'm not a professional planner. I'm just someone who's been through it, sharing what I've learned the hard way. Always speak with a licensed financial advisor or tax professional before making decisions with your money. All right, let's dig into the 5 biggest mistakes I, and nearly everyone I know, got wrong about retirement. The $300,000 blind spot in your retirement plan? For decades, I assumed Medicare had me covered. After all, I'd paid into the system my entire career. Then reality hit. First came the $1,300 dental crown, no coverage. Then my wife's $2,000 hearing aids, also not covered. That's when I discovered Medicare's dirty little secret. It's full of expensive gaps. Vision, dental, hearing, long-term care, none are fully covered. Yet these are exactly the services retirees need most. The numbers don't lie. The average couple faces $300,000 in healthcare costs during retirement. But the real shocker, long-term care. A single health crisis can mean $5,000 to $10,000 monthly bills. For years, Medicare won't touch most of it. Here's the hard truth I learned too late. Medicare is like a car without wheels. It looks complete, but won't take you where you need to go. If your retirement plan doesn't account for these healthcare holes, you're not really planning for retirement at all. Your retirement's silent killer. Living too long. My father died at 67, my mother at 72. So when I retired at 65, I budgeted for 15 years, max. Then my doctor said the words that changed everything. With your health, 90 is very realistic. That's when the panic set in. My carefully calculated nest egg suddenly needs to last 25 plus years. My conservative 4% withdrawals might need to shrink to 2.5%. My backup plan of working longer, not an option if my health fails. I'll never forget my neighbor, 87 years young, showing me his budget, $1,800 per month. Social Security, $2,900 per month, assisted living. The math kept him awake at night. And now, it keeps me awake too. Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. Modern medicine is keeping us alive, longer than our parents, but not necessarily wealthier longer. That extra decade of life, it could cost you $300,000 plus in unplanned expenses. And when you're 85, just getting a part-time job isn't exactly an option. So ask yourself this terrifying question. What happens if I live 5, 10, 15 years longer than expected? Because in retirement, longevity isn't just a blessing, it's the ultimate stress test for your savings. Social Security's billion-dollar mistake that half of retirees make. I'll never forget clicking Submit on my Social Security application at 62. That first $1,800 check felt like victory, until I learned the brutal math. 25 to 30% smaller checks, forever. $1,000 a month becomes $700. $300,000 plus dollars left on the table if you live to 85. The trap? It seems smart at first. Take the money now. What if I die early? But here's what nobody tells you. 1. The break-even point. You'd need to live past 80 to 82 just to match what you'd get by waiting to 67. 2. The spousal penalty. When you die, your surviving spouse gets stuck with your reduced benefit. 3. The inflation trap. That already small check? It buys 20% less every decade. I met a woman who made the same mistake. At 75, she was taking Lyft to work at the grocery store. Not for fun, but because her $1,200 check couldn't cover rent and prescriptions. The painful truth? Early Social Security is the only financial decision where the government openly warns you it's a bad deal. 42% of people do it anyway, and 63% of them regret it within 5 years. Want to know the right way to claim? Hint, it's not 70 for everyone. Retirement's hidden tax trap that steals thousands. I'll never forget opening my first retirement tax bill. My hands actually shook. After decades of deductions, I suddenly owed $12,000, more than when I was working. Here's how I got ambushed. 1. The 401k time bomb. Every dollar withdrawn gets taxed as ordinary income. My $50,000 withdrawal suddenly put me in the 22% bracket, the Social Security tax surprise. Just $12,000 in IRA withdrawals triggered taxes on 85% of my benefits. 3. RMD roulette. At 73, the government will force me to withdraw and pay taxes on $40,000 plus per year, whether I need it or not. The cruel irony? I could have paid $0 in taxes with proper planning. Roth conversions in low-income years, strategic charitable giving, tax bracket filling before Social Security. Now I watch friends make the same mistake, withdrawing extra just to pay surprise tax bills, accelerating the drain on their accounts. The painful truth? The IRS gives retirees one brief window, ages 60 to 70, to optimize taxes. Miss it, and you'll pay 5 to 6 figures extra over your lifetime. This is not financial advice, just my personal story. Please speak with a licensed financial advisor or tax professional before making any decisions. Your home equity is a retirement mirage. Here's why. I used to pat myself on the back every time Zillow said my home value jumped. Our $500,000 safety net, I'd tell my wife. Then reality hit. The 6-month problem. When we needed $85,000 fast for medical bills, selling would take 180 plus days with 6% commissions. The cash access trap HELOCs required income verification, which isn't easy when you're on Social Security. Reverse mortgages came with 5% fees and scary fine print. The emotional cost. Our asset was also where we raised our kids, not just numbers on a spreadsheet. The wake-up call? Watching neighbors. One couple sold fast during a market dip, lost $120,000 in value. Another took a reverse mortgage. Now their heirs face complications. The painful truth: your home equity is illiquid when you need cash most, subject to market swings, often emotionally priceless, but financially inflexible. Smart retirees treat homes as one piece of their plan, never the entire safety net. Want to see the 3 ways to safely unlock home equity without selling? What I did, and what you should do differently? After facing surprise bills, tax shocks, and that costly Social Security mistake, I had a choice: freeze in fear or adapt. I chose adaptation, not radical overhauls, but intentional steps, the kind I wish I'd known were possible years ago. First, I mapped my retirement in phases, not just numbers. Early retirement, adventure, travel. Mid-retirement, slower pace, healthcare needs. Late retirement, legacy, care costs. Most plans treat retirement as one block, but your spending, health, and priorities shift. Why don't we plan for that? Then I confronted my biggest regret: claiming Social Security too early. If you're healthy and can afford to wait, do the math. Delaying boosts your check by 8% yearly, a guaranteed return you won't find anywhere else. Healthcare was next. I dug into Medicare's fine print, added a supplement plan, and started a dedicated health fund. Turns out, most people underestimate long-term care costs by half. Why? Because no one talks about it until it's too late. Taxes became a strategy, not an afterthought. A specialist showed me how Roth conversions and charitable distributions could save thousands. Did you know the order you withdraw funds, taxable versus tax-free, can dramatically alter your lifetime tax bill? I also built flexible income streams: consulting, dividends, even renting our basement. Not for luxury, but for security. The goal? Reduce reliance on markets and on my own savings. But here's the real lesson: get expert eyes on your plan. Not opinions, analysis. The gaps in your knowledge are invisible until they cost you. Retirement isn't about wealth, it's about foresight. I didn't need more money, I needed a better system. You've still got time. Whether you're 60 or 70, small tweaks now compound. Start today, not after the next crisis. If this resonated, hit like and subscribe. Retirement isn't an ending, it's a new beginning, but only if you prepare.